Welcome back, everyone. It's the second segment on the program this morning. This time around, we're looking at INEC's verdict on card readers. And so we're looking at the near phase out of card readers. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, 2 days ago informed Nigerians that it's as if card readers has outlived its relevance because it's not admissible in court. And so you begin to wonder, who invented this thing in the first place? Why did we introduce it into our electoral system? Is it creating more of confusion? Where do we go from here? These and many other issues we're going to be looking at on this segment of the program. And we have a public affairs analyst with us in the studio. He is Hazy Harrison. Good morning.
It's great to have you back. Yes, good morning.
Thank you.
Yes, let me start off this way. We have the card reader machine playing premium in our elections. And of course, when this came about during the Maurice Owo time, a lot of people applauded it and people wanted to see a system that would be accountable in terms of electronic. But then we still have an impediment in terms of the passage of the Electoral Act when it comes to the issue of e-system of voting. But what we are having now appears to be more scary, coming from INEC saying that the kind of way the voter card, the card reader has been relegated under the background, that the courts are no longer recognizing it in terms of evidence. They prefer to have the register, the voters register. When all of this happens, what is the future of electronic voting in Nigeria?
Thank you so much. I want to go back to start on a very sad note. Why we are having all this bottleneck is because there is no agency in Nigeria that is independent in carrying out that which they are saddled with. There is no agency.
No agency.
Now, and that is why we are having all these issues. Let me go back a little bit before I come to the main question you asked. You look at the position of INEC, their constitutional power. It is nothing. They cannot be the final umpire in any election.
How do you mean?
Thank you. Now, you said these people are the umpire of a particular system that is running in the country, but they don't have the constitutional power to say, no, we don't want this. They don't have. For instance, if they have got that constitutional power, they would have cancelled these two last election of November 16. And that is what they are fighting for.
So, has anyone told INEC not to cancel it?
They don't have that constitutional power. They don't.
Who gives them the constitutional power?
Now, there is an act that put them in place. So that power is not enshrined in that act. The Electoral Act is not there.
To cancel elections?
Yes.
So what happens to the court system? Can they go to the courts?
They go to the court, and when they get to the court is telling them, one, you don't have power to cancel an election. You only have provisional power to postpone an impending election. You don't have power to overrule an election that has taken place.
But they can declare an election to be inconclusive.
Inconclusive.
And
that
not
inconclusive is not cancellation of a falsified result that they have taken note to see that this thing is not the way it should be.
Now, Mr. Harrison, are you saying that in some cases INEC haven't established, or are you saying that in some cases INEC usually establish cases of fraud and yet will go ahead to declare results?
They will go ahead and declare it. They can't call it off. They can't cancel the election. They can't cancel the results because no such provision in the act that brought them into place. Now, let me give you an example. What do you think is responsible for the declaration by Okoye saying we don't have power to do this, in as much as the electronic card reader is not admissible in court to pass judgment? It means, now look at that.
Shouldn't Okoye be more concerned about improving the services of card readers? You know what happens
rather than calling for it.
Excuse
saying,
me.
for instance,
Nigerians are shocked.
Excuse me. Okoye, even if he is concerned by improving the quality or the services or the usage of the card reader, is nothing related to what we are talking about. the card reader results or informations that are retrievable from the card reader machine and all that, they are not tenable in court.
How do you mean?
That is what
What
I'm
are the
saying.
instances
It's not
working
tenable.
What are the instances working against the
tenability?
Yes,
Now,
in court.
in the act, there was no such provision. So the card reader thing has no weight in the act that set them up. The act only approved the registration and the ballot papers, whether falsified or genuine.
Aren't you worried as a nine? Be looking at manual voting. So do you call that progress, or because what's the essence of making use of card reader when it cannot be tendered in court?
Let me say this to you. Except if there is a provision now to empower the electronic voting system, that means it will be tenable in court. That means it will be acceptable as an evidence in court. That means it will be admitted in court as a substantiated evidence in the matter. Then it's useless. It's useless.
So what's the meaning of this?
The meaning is that we have a system where there is insincerity in the executive, where there is incompetence in the legislature, and where there is lily-livered judicial system. This is
and these are the three arms of government,
yes,
which is responsible for regulating, managing the life and the affairs
of the nation.
And with this your verdict on these three arms of government, it's as if there is no state called Nigeria.
Well, we are existing in papers. The nation is existing in papers, not in reality. Let me explain this to you. Have you taken your time to look at the constitution of this country? There is no hope for the masses as long as the constitution we have today is concerned.
No. But is it about the constitution? Is it about the content of the constitution or how it's been implemented?
The content and the implementation, they're going in the same direction.
Okay, let me give you an
That is the thing.
Section 4, Section 5 talks about the rights of the citizens.
Okay.
Freedom to do this, freedom to do
this. Freedom to life, freedom to education, and all that and all that.
It means that there is the law in place. The constitution recognizes
the
fact that there is the right of an individual.
Yes.
So it's a different ballgame how we are upholding these rights.
That is why I told you earlier on that the nation is existing on papers, not in practice. The leadership system are doing contrary to the provisions of the law. In the concurrent list of the constitution, let me tell you, the other part of the constitution, everything there undermines the concurrent list. That's the truth. And that is why you see some of these things, you talk about your right, you talk about this. Who enforces it? Who told you you have a right? You only have a right on paper, not in practice.
Is this not a lame excuse coming from INEC? Because they are the electoral umpire.
Okay.
They should ensure that elections are conducted under a free and credible atmosphere.
Okay.
You know, when they have to say this, it's kind of scary. And of course, the future of e-voting in Nigeria appears to be very sketchy.
Okay.
Is this not a lame excuse coming from INEC itself? Because they should be well aware of the contractors handling the distribution of this particular machine itself. Shouldn't INEC be more concerned about the contractors here and changing them?
I want to open your eye to something. Now, I am your boss, all right? I put worth into your mouth on what you say in the public. So that...
So you are saying INEC is not truly independent?
They are not true at all, in any way. They are not.
Even things that will undermine their exercises, they are not independent to talk about it.
No.
If that assertion is true, then opposition wouldn't have been winning elections in this country.
But let me tell you something. In most of the places, in the places you see opposition win election, it means the opposition has a 90% stronghold of that community or the state. That is not the truth.
All these are wide allegations. All these are wide allegations. They cannot be substantiated.
Don't say that. Don't say that. In a state in Nigeria today where the legs and the arms of the opposition has not been broken, that is where they will win election. And they break the arms and the legs of the oppositions in such states because They want to make Nigeria a one-party nation.
What's your impression about, Kogi and Bayelsa state election?
Kogi and Bayelsa election? Well, there are several issues that they have swept under the carpet. I took my time to watch some independent video clips of what went on in Kogi and Bayelsa. There was one I watched, I was tired of staying in this country. There was sporadic shooting in a particular community for 15 solid minutes, and nobody came out to vote. In fact, including electoral officers, they left their positions and polling units and flee. And these things, so what do we talk about? And these are some of the things that the international community are reporting about.
You heard the IGP, saying that fake police took part in Kogi and Bayelsa state election, especially in Kogi state.
Okay.
And so fake police, now unidentified police, police that you could not identify.
Okay.
And so when you have things like this happen, thank God it's a terrain you once took.
Yeah.
And so it's an indictment on one establishment that you once served in this country, isn't it?
Let me explain this to you. Number one, where and what are the sources of those uniforms? Have they made an arrest of anyone who put on such fake identity to represent the Nigerian police force?
When they were not.
So if the IGP is saying that, it's a flop on him. If he had come out to the public to tell us that there were fake uniformed men all over the place who no,
let's come back to this INEX revelation.
Okay.
Presently before the National Assembly is a bill that will enable Nigeria to go electronical in its voting.
Okay.
And now that card reader, because a lot of Nigerians are thought that, okay, we've made some progress with the card reader machine and all that, the next step would have been electronic voting. Now the National Assembly is considering it. Any need for that again?
Well, if they are considering it, there must be a law that backs it up to be admissible in court, because there will always be litigations, tribunal, election petition tribunal. There will always be.
Because we have to join our legal studio. But before we go, I would just want to ask you, INEC is saying that the electoral wars in this country should be blamed on the political class and also the judicial system.
Okay.
What do we make out of this? INEC is exonerating itself.
Wait, they shouldn't exonerate themselves because they have sold themselves over to the political class. Their officials are the one responsible in selling out the ballot booklets to these politicians.
What facts do you have? Those are huge allegations here.
It's huge allegations. So on what ground are they putting the blame on the political class?
But don't forget that INEC officials are serving prison term.
Arrest them and take the ballot papers, went away, did the trumping, and returned it to them for them to count. Is that what they are saying? So what blame are they putting on the political class? They are to regulate the election. So how did the political class hijack the process from them that they are putting blame on them? These are some of the things.
What are your parting shots? Because we have to let
my parting shot is that let us get these things right. From the presidency to the legislative to the judiciary. As of today, they are all flukes.
In one word, should we continue with the usage of card reader? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you so much, Izzy Harrison, for your time on the program this morning. This is how far we can go, everyone. We need to join our legal studios for the newspaper review segment. I am Anu Luakwa. Enjoy your weekend.
And I'm Golabo Fimosko, wishing you the best of the weekend. Bye for now.